morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. And I hope you're having a great time at Microsoft Ignite. This is Sujal Parulekar, and I am the practice manager for Azure Data Services at Wipro. I have with me my colleagues today, Kunal Turakhia and Bijoy Chelora. Kunal heads the hyperscaler data practice at Wipro, and Bijoy is the product manager for our data and analytics platform and solutions team. Today we will be discussing how customers are creating data-driven enterprises by modernizing their data estates in the cloud, the challenges they face, and how Wipro Full Stride Cloud Services helps them overcome these challenges. Hi Kunal, first of all, congratulations on winning the 2022 Microsoft Partner of the Year Awards for Analytics and Power BI. What a great achievement.
Thank you so much, Sujal. I think both thrilled and humbled to receive this award from Microsoft. I think it's a testament in terms of our investment in data and analytics over the years and how we are a committed partner to a lot of our customers in this data-driven journey that they have all embarked on. So, really happy to be here today. Happy to have a good discussion.
So you're absolutely right, Kunal. So in the last couple of years, especially, we've seen a lot of customers talk about creating this data-driven enterprise. So what do you think is really required to build a data-driven enterprise?
No, absolutely, Sujal. We have definitely seen that. And, you got to step back a little bit and understand why is it that customers are trying to build a data-driven enterprise. What has changed in the market, in the way things are run, etc. Yes, there's been an exponential growth in the data. There's been a lot of digitalization. But the reality is that there is so much that is changing in the competitive landscape out there that it's very difficult for an organization to continue to run the way they have been running for the last few decades, right? Just look at the pandemic, for example, right? Imagine you're a food and facilities services provider in the US, and all of a sudden there is a wave of lockdowns, right? All your depots are shut down. You also provide food, however, to hospitals. How do you make sure that you rejig your supply chain to make sure the hospitals continue to get the food and whatever facilities that you are still providing? Now, that's a real example that we've helped one of our customers to actually move on to the Azure platform, right? How do we go about doing this, right? And why do we do it? At the end of the day, what the organization is trying to do is use this data now as an asset, trying to build new processes, maybe come up with new solutions, products, really make an impact in terms of how and where things are going. And Sujal, you would agree, we have seen multiple of such instances with customers over the last few years. And that is the push why people are moving more and more towards, smarter data platforms, right? And how does smarter data platforms help? It's very simple. At the end of the day, you want to get your insights, you want to make an intelligent process. The foundation of all of this is the data platform that's there at the back of it, right? And that is what is required. Whether you want to create new revenue streams, increase your customer experiences, or even build out more governance and compliance, right? For all of this, the foundation is going to be your data platform.
Yeah, I totally agree. And as you rightly said, Wipro has helped many customers modernize their data estates and bring out the real value of data. So do you see any common threads, in terms of challenges faced by each of these customers?
No, absolutely. Though all customers love to say they're unique, and they are, what you see today and why there is so much focus on even the cloud, on modernization, etc., is because of what most organizations have today, right? Most of them are running legacy data estates. Now, when I say legacy data estates, what do I mean, right? Over the last 2 decades, people have built out data marts, data warehouses, data lakes, siloed sandboxes for analysts. This is what is there today, right? And the reason was everything was being done, just to kind of, maintain whatever was there at that point, right? What does it also mean? there's a very high cost to maintain these, because this is probably sitting on appliances, on-premise data centers, right? And none of these are tailored for advanced analytics use cases, AI, machine learning, the ability to get insights real time embedded within your processes, right? And that's one of the reasons why we are seeing a lot of this push towards modernizing this. And we have seen it, right? Most of our customers end up having a lot of disparate technologies, whether it is ETL, whether it is the BI layer, whether it is even visualization technologies. Every business unit within the organization tends to have something that they're using on their own. And the unfortunate thing is these don't really match up with each other. So these are all things which are resulting in delayed decision making, because you have an inefficient data platform, you have an inefficient analytics platform, and this is one of the reasons why all these organizations are looking at trying to simplify it, build something, using Azure, trying to go onto a cloud platform and kind of build something that can be built for the future.
So Kunal, you rightly mentioned on some of the challenges that are being faced by customers, and we are seeing these, day in and day out with the different customers. So how is Wipro trying to help customers overcome some of these challenges?
Sujal, great point in terms of how does Wipro make a difference when they go into a customer, right? And at the end of the day, what we do is we try to look at the wider picture of what the customer is trying to do, right? Even if it's a small data warehouse migration, or it is implementing something new onto the cloud, etc. At the end of the day, what the customer is trying to do is get to this uh, place where they can get intelligence everywhere. Now, this is something that we've kind of coined, and the reason we've coined it is we're trying to kind of widen the conversation with the customer, trying to see what the end game is for them, and hence help them kind of look at a bigger picture in terms of trying to address what they're trying to do on the data and analytics side. When we talk about intelligence everywhere, there are different possibilities or potentials that are available for customers, right? One could be interactions, the way they work with their customers today, the way they work with their vendors or partners today, right? Can we reimagine these experiences? Maybe conversational apps, mixed reality, etc. Right? That is something that is very useful for them today. Processes itself, the way the processes have been run over the last few years, the way you're interacting with your customers, the touch points that you have. Can you drive more business agility? Can you embed insights into these? Can you bring in AI and make that process much more smarter, right? And finally, the platform itself, right? How do I drive simplification, scalability, whether it's through software as a service, using cloud native apps, or even building out a cloud which is more inclusive of your partners and customers, something at an industry level. Right? So these are all things that we tend to take in when we are going into customers.
That's a great thought, Kunal. Building an intelligent ecosystem for the customer. So, which is not just inward looking into the organization, but also leveraging on your suppliers and partners and external talent and so on. Right. So, what are the Wipro offerings that you bring to the table as far as the data estate modernization is concerned?
So I think there are three basic conversations that we have when we talk about the data side. Right? One is people who are looking to migrate, so migrate, re-platform onto the cloud, onto a far more nimble environment, etc. So we have a whole lot of offerings around cloud migration. The Wipro Data Intelligence Suite helps that. There are accelerators in there which can help you do that. The second is the database modernization side, right? How do I actually modernize your data warehouses, data marts, ODSs, etc., or even your data lakes, and build it out in such a way that you can build a scalable data platform that can be taken forward. And finally, it's not just about taking what you already have. How can I build new next gen data platforms which are based on cloud first architectures, right? So how do I actually do that so that you can do things which you have never been able to do before?
Yeah, so I think a combination of all of these is the right way to go, as you pointed out. So, Bijoy, what do you think? So, when a customer decides to move their data estates to cloud, how do you help them, on this journey?
Considering these data estates are created over a period of time, there is a lot of work to be done before we embark the cloud modernization journey. We have a three-phased approach for modernizing data estate to cloud. First and foremost, we analyze the existing data estate and we plan for the migration. The discovery phase help you to go deeper about your data estate, data flow, storage option, and underlying challenges. This information will help you to plan the migration phase. The output of this phase is typically an architectural diagram, uh, a strategy for the migration, a roadmap, etc. All those things will come out. Having prepared at this stage, the next phase is migration, which entails migration of metadata, databases, data stores, ETL codes, and your insights layer. This could follow either a lift and shift approach or modernizing using Azure native services. The third phase, that is the post migration phase, is all about maintaining and monitoring your cloud platform. This will help you to optimize the cost and performance of the platform. We have invested a lot on a platform called Wipro Data Intelligence Suite. This is a one-stop solution that will enable enterprise to cloudify their ecosystem. This platform enables end-to-end automation of the cloud migration and a transformation towards Azure. In our experience, what we have observed is around 30 to 40 percentage efforts and cost are getting reduced uh, by leveraging this particular platform.
So, migration to cloud sounds like a lot of work, Bijoy. And I'm sure you see a lot of resistance from customers, even though they see the potential benefits of moving to cloud. So, given the cost and time pressures, how do you think the Wipro Data Intelligence Suite really helps them to accelerate the processes?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, Sujal. As you know, these estates are there, or these estates are there for a quite number of years, right? They may build over a period of time without much thought around it. Now, moving towards cloud is inevitable for the business because customers are looking more agile inside today's world. So virtually every business is willing to bear a short-term pain of migrating to take advantage of the long-term business gain of cloud computing. However, for most of this business, they are yet to realize the full potential of cloud because of migration itself is a challenge for them. So when we look at that problem statement, it's mainly because of the uncertainty about cloud cost, data security, quality of data, and internal resistance to change. These are all the major concerns we have seen across our customer landscape. So what we have done is we have prepared an approach and solutions which will address all these worries, and this will help the customers to define the cloud strategy, and it will help them to get more visibility during the project execution phase. They will be prepared for the all the uncertainties which is going to happen during the migration phase. Centralized visibility and control on the migration process and timelines is something all senior management always looks. There are cases, not all the apps you cannot move to a cloud as it is. It may not be compatible with the new environment. So, because of all these factors, we will bring interoperability at first place, and we will start looking into each and every application, and then we ensure a seamless migration towards the Azure side. The other point is which I was talking about, the security. So security, weak points and infrastructure availability is a very critical aspect which we also understand. What we does is we size each and every application according to the need, and the business criticality. We also understand the dependencies of each application. These are all come up during our discovery phase, and this will, that input we use to plan all this migration phase of it.
So thanks for that explanation, Bijoy. So consider a case, where a customer wants to migrate their data estate from their on-premise or legacy landscape to Azure cloud, right? So they are considering typical data services like an Azure Synapse or Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Factory. Right now, how do you help customer to move migrate from the legacy landscape to cloud? And then what are the accelerators that you have specific to Azure or specific to migrating these data loads to Azure cloud?
So, Sujal, let me talk about one of the recent success story. One of the global stainless steel manufacturer. In fact, it's one of the very, in terms of business size, they are one of the very large in the world. They have a very huge legacy data estate, which is probably 15 years or more there in the organization, and it's grown inorganically, and customer was not able to get insights in on that particular data estate in a very agile manner. This is the problem statement when we met the customer a few quarter back. This is what they told us. We have recommended Azure Synapse to the customer. We used our Wipro Data Intelligence Suite, and we have migrated entire stuff towards Azure Synapse. With automation, we were able to reduce the whole effort and cost almost to 55%. And with this, actually, they were able to get insights very early. They don't need to wait till the end of the project, right? We were able to add value very early stage of the project itself. In fact, we have even published this general case study in various places. It's there in the public domain also. So coming back to the question, you need to trace every aspect of your existing application and warehouse and identify complexities of your ecosystem. This is necessary in order to understand the roles of business process which is currently exist in the organization, and how do you take it from there. You need to respect the existing systems are there for some time, and without much business disruption, you should be able to help customers to migrate towards Azure, right? So in that manner, we have three modules in our data intelligence suite. We call it as Starto, Alto, and Zero. Each one has its own purpose. Starto help you for strategize, Alto for migration, Zero for operationalization. These modules seamlessly work with all the most of the Azure components. For example, Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse, Azure SQL, and Azure Databricks, Power BI. All this area, all these modules works very seamlessly with them.
So I believe that will definitely create a positive impact in the cloud migration journey. So Kunal, I know you mentioned about this in question one, but I just wanted to understand, that though we've been talking about data estate modernization, how do you think embarking on this journey directly impacts the end users?
Today, the honest challenge that most business users have is this suboptimal infrastructure and data platform, right? The ETL processes that happen only overnight, even if they happen into the data lake, it's very difficult to get to data to get to the data which is in the data lake. So all of this is resulting in delayed decisions, and that's why the end goal and the biggest beneficiary of a modernized data estate is finally going to be the end user, not really the IT and the technical side or the cost. That's just one part of the story.
So I couldn't agree less. And Kunal, while you were talking, I could recollect a lot of examples, where we've helped customers and directly impacted the end users as well, right? So a lot of case studies that we've seen before. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, Kunal and Bijoy, both for the insightful information that you've shared today. So, how do folks connect with you? How do folks connect with Wipro to learn more about full stride services, about the data intelligence suite, and in general about the offerings that Wipro has to offer?
Thanks a lot, Sujal. It's been a great discussion. A lot of the stuff you will be able to find on our website, that is wipro.com. We are also some of the solutions we spoke about today. So, for example, the Wipro Data Intelligence Suite, it's there on the Azure Marketplace. So it was great having you guys, and thank you for giving us this great opportunity to present at Ignite. And hope you guys are having a great week. Thank you so much.